Hi everyone, welcome to AI TV. This year we're broadcasting from AI Expo Africa 2020 online edition because of COVID. And we've taken our media center online, so we're doing all our interviews through the power of Zoom. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ati, who's the Executive Head of Department for Business Process Reengineering at Vodacom, one of Africa's largest mobile operators. Ati, welcome to AI TV and also welcome to AI Expo Africa. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, Nick?
Well, it's been busy. The show has happened in terms of the live event, and now we're into the show archive. So we're conducting these interviews with people who are basically pioneering the transformation of their own businesses using artificial intelligence, data science, and other 4IR technologies which are coming to the fore. Ati, do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about your job and what you're doing in Vodacom in terms of your basic kind of day-to-day activities, and then maybe something about what you're doing around AI in your company?
Okay, the day-to-day part is a bit tricky because no day is the same, but a general theme is that I look after a portfolio of a team that has been tasked to see how we can digitize Vodacom in how we operate, whether from improving customer service, increasing potential sales opportunities and revenue, and operational efficiency, customer service experience. So we started off with the mandate of implementing robotics process automation, but we've since evolved from that because we've seen how RPA has its limitations, and we've now started playing in that space of merging RPA together with whether OCR or machine learning and AI capability. So that's what we currently do now. So I have a team of process engineers where our fundamental ethos is that before we automate, we need to simplify and sometimes eradicate waste and then automate. And we're technology agnostic in that if we see something needs a front end and that's a solution, that will do. If we see there's a machine learning opportunity to be built, we engage with the data scientist team together with the RPA team. So we're a process team that does automation, and we're using various technologies. And then we also have the business analysts then who are part of the execution of the sprints together with the development team.
So that's quite a big transformation program that you're running. Obviously, many people will know Vodacom is one of the largest telco providers in the region. So and you must have lots of processes that need digitizing, and then bringing your data scientist teams together with your AI focused staff. That must keep you busy. So I can see why every day is never the same.
Yeah, we got different. I think I love the evolution of my team, and I think I primarily attribute that to the support that we have from the senior executive teams. And that one of the things we started is having a squad for every chief, right? So if you look at the Vodacom website and you go to the About Us website page, we've got the leadership there. What we've positioned our team as an enabling technology to help each chief reach its strategy, right? So you will find that if you're talking to the chief risk officer, they've got their own pain points that are very different to the Vodacom business chief, that are different to the customer service operations chief. So we've almost then reconfigured our team to cater for the needs of each of these chiefs. And the underlying technologies will support that, but each team has its own targets, and that's where now the beauty lies, in that one team does something that could be completely different, and some of them could be from an end-to-end perspective. A process starts in the sales team, ends in the customer service experience. So we have to have that holistic view still, even though we still have those squads. So it's a balancing act between operating in silos and understanding that there is an end-to-end value chain in these solutions. And sometimes you can implement and get benefits alone in your squad, but sometimes there's a cross-squad pollination that then happens which we're seeing greater value out of those kind of end-to-end implementations.
So you gave a talk at the event, Ati, and also I guess Vodacom was also there to potentially find new suppliers or to look at new technologies which are coming to the market, both locally and internationally. How did you find your speaking engagement, and how did you find the show in general in terms of looking at new technology?
One of the feedback that I got, right, as a general theme, is that I seem to have made AI accessible in how I explained it, right? So my background is in finance, right? So, and then I have an MBA, no technical inclination whatsoever. But because I've got an affinity to learn, right? And I've got a very good relationship with my manager, where every time I speak to him, and he's a data scientist to the core. So I learned so much from him, and it made me feel like it's a normal thing to be able to identify a machine learning opportunity from a business perspective. And then I go to the technical team to execute. So I think I took that for granted, that as though it's common knowledge, but clearly it isn't, right? So that's one of the, I guess, the compliments that came out of the feedback that I got from the session that I held, that it can be simple if you just have the basics and understanding of what machine learning is and AI is. And then I think what the broader conference was quite overwhelming in terms of information. That's why I'm so grateful that the recordings are available, so that I can actually go back and look at the content in more detail at my own leisure. In that it also gives me hope in that where Vodacom is going, we're moving to becoming a technology company, right? No longer a telecommunications company. So what the AI conference exposed to me is the art of the possible, in where we could influence the group in where it's going, in that we can't be focusing on the traditional telco spaces anymore. We need to be able to see different opportunities. And I think that's what the Expo actually helped me see, the art of the possible for a technology company.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, Ati. I mean, I think your testimony and proof positive of the fact that to lead technology change, you don't have to necessarily have come from 20 years hardcore software development and programming. I think, you know, every person has a role to play in helping businesses and society adopt these technologies. And actually, leading change is in itself a skill set which doesn't necessarily need technical competency. You don't need to understand, like, how does the engine work, but you know how to drive the car and you know where you want the car to go. And
I think what becomes important is knowing where you want to go.
Exactly.
Then the technical people will guide you maybe on the how, but
and it's a team sport. And I think this is the important thing that we're trying to communicate with you know, people that are new to the industry, particularly young people, which are maybe coming from computer science graduates or data science graduates, is that, you know, more often than not, they will sit inside a technical team within a company like yours, and they'll be doing some fantastic work. But many of the people that are around them leading the bigger change, because they're actually part of a change program, whether they like it or not, you may have a different skill set: design thinking, creative thinking, softer skills, leadership skills. You know, that's just as equally important as someone who knows how to weaponize an algorithm using a real-time data feed. You know, I don't have that technical background myself, but I certainly have come from that sort of project management, change management background, where you know that you need the right team, of which technical people will be part of to implement the change, and also an understanding that change doesn't happen overnight. A lot of technology projects fail because people want to run to the bright light and they think it's going to solve all their problems, and actually it does take time.
And one of the mottos that even my manager has started to adopt is the concept of thinking big but acting small.
Yeah.
Right? That we've got a lot of problems, or we've got a lot of opportunities in Vodacom, right? So the moment you look at a problem as a mountain, you almost don't know where to start because it's so overwhelming. But if you really, really think big in the art of the possible, because that's what I talk about in my talk, where I ask, if you had unlimited brain capacity and unlimited hands, what would you do, right? And that's where I think all of these ideas come from, right? And that people would, I know from the one of the finance teams where they said, our collection team, our staff turnover is so fast that we only have a handful of strong collection agents, as an example. And then I asked, what happens if you had 100 of them and they are 10 years experience, right? What how would you use them? They're like, no, we could see our collection rate improve here. And then they gave me the stats to say, these agents have this high collection rate versus these ones. So then I was like, but then why don't you build something to help the new ones operate at the same level as the skilled ones? Then that way, it doesn't matter whether you've been there for 1 year or 10 years, we have the technology that supports collections. And for a lot of people, they don't seem to understand that it could be in something like an intelligent collection agent assisting the human. Then you've got an intelligent solution that helps the sales team be able to be very specific in what they sell, who do they sell to, when they sell to, and why they sell to them. That now we've got a stronger sales team that is empowered by machine learning and RPA, that the key focus is about people doing what people do best, and that is
Yep.
engaging with other people. And you've got the technology then that is supporting those conversations to be meaningful. Because I think even as a customer, there's nothing more frustrating than feeling like somebody's reading a script when I have a particular problem. So we almost want to then personalize also customer experiences, whether through sales or collections, doesn't matter where they are in the value chain. How do we personalize that connection such that even if I'm behind on my payments, I don't feel as though I'm in trouble? Because that's a lot of companies tend to do that. They make you feel like you're in trouble if you don't do X, Y, Z. And the sales people will try and sell to you something, anything, and hope something sticks, type of thing. Where if we empower the employees with more knowledge in terms of brain power, in terms of machine learning, AI, they become stronger people. And I think even it will work for their confidence, right? That if they operate at a high level now because of the technology, they get to be happier employees. They get to do what they actually enjoy with the support of the different technologies that we're offering for them. So I think that's what I've been trying to get the organization to shift their focus in the art of the possible. And we're creating new journeys now, not necessarily automating what's there, but creating new ways of working through these technologies.
Well, Ati, I mean, it's amazing to hear your own views from the coalface, so to speak, and proving that yet again, when it comes to managing technology change programs, people and processes are the most important thing to get right. Because if you don't have that allied with a very clear strategy, the technology will ultimately fail. Just to wrap up, Ati, what were your top three, just short summary observations from the event? For many people, it was their first online conference of size.
Yeah.
What were the top three things that you took away from the event?
That there's so much that can be done. We shouldn't limit ourselves to what we know. I think that's one of the biggest obstacles to any growth and change strategies, that we so attached to what we know. So the more you engage with other people in the different industries, you get to then, I think the point of being innovative is seeing what else somebody else is doing and seeing how you can re-engineer it to fit your own landscape. That to me is a one key taking. And then there's a community of people out there that are actually willing to teach and share. I think a long time ago, people wouldn't have openly spoken about what they're doing in their organizations because they wanted to be the only ones doing it. So there's a whole wave of, the more people understand what we're doing, the faster the adoption. So I think that the leveraging of the relationships built, because I know I had a few requests that I start a blog or vlog. I didn't think I could do that, but now it's an idea that I was given by different people. So that the concept of having a community that you can leverage off is another key taking. And another thing, the most important thing for me is the continuous learning. To not think you know it all. There's always more opportunities to do more. And also don't think that you have to do everything at once. The one conference you learn one thing, you apply whatever works in your space, and there's an opportunity for growth through the collaboration and continuous learning. And then those were my key takings out of the conference.
Well, Ati, it just leaves me to say thank you very much for joining us on AI TV today, and also for your contribution to the show, the talk that you gave. It's just fantastic to hear people having these conversations. The whole idea about AI Expo Africa is that we mix it all up. We do technical talks, we do non-technical talks. We try and talk in a language that everybody understands. The show now runs for another 30 days, and we're going to get thousands more young people, students, researchers, entrepreneurs, new delegates, and they'll hear your talk and get inspired. And I just want to say thank you very much and wrap up the interview here on AI TV, and we'll see you next year.
Yep, you're up.